Hi everybody, today we are doing a cooking class. This is Chef Keith, Cal-Am Catering. Today we're going to do a cooking class on curry chicken. I'm going to get the curry started and then I'm going to show you a great bread that goes with this, which is called naan bread. It's a great flat bread. You can use it for making quick personal pizzas. It's got a great texture. Sop it up with some gravy. Really nice universal bread. You could actually use it and instead of rolling it out, you can roll it in little logs and tie it up and make a garlic knot with it. Add some fresh garlic to your dough. It's a really universal bread. We're going to get started with the curry chicken and then I will demonstrate to you the naan bread. Naan bread is a pretty popular bread that they use in India. They eat it with just about any meal. As well as you can go ahead, instead of having a dinner roll with your favorite stew, try a piece of naan bread with it. It's great. You make sandwiches with it. This is what you would get if you ordered a gyro, which is sometimes lamb or chicken, but basically a lamb and beef mix that they eat big time over in India and Greece. So we got our nice hot saute pan right there. We're going to add our chicken. This is 6 chicken thighs that I've cut and quartered into big chunks. Now, curry chicken, either you like it or you don't. And it's kind of amazing. There are 19 different types of curry. And the differences are just how much of what you're adding to it. The basics are cinnamon, gram marsala, which gram marsala is also a spice that has 3 or 4 different ingredients in it already. Cardamom, coriander. There's quite a bit of different ingredients that goes into a curry. But it is important that if you want a good curry, to go ahead and go to an Asian mart or an international store or something and get a really nice branded curry. I have done that several times, kind of experimented with different ones. And I found a brand that I really like. I'm going to turn this up a little bit. After that sautés just for a few minutes, we're going to go ahead and add the curry. Now I'm going to add the curry before everything else because I want the curry to get to the bottom of the pot and kind of start getting activated. Activating it will release its natural oils before you add everything else. You add everything else, it's going to cool it down. It's not going to be so good. How I learned about this recipe, I was a cook at the Point Hilton Resort. We always did a family meal, and that's where somebody throughout the kitchen or 2 people will pair up and make a meal for the front of house, for the back of house, all the servers, the bussers, whatnot. So one particular time, I had one of our bussers come to me. He was an older gentleman. He asked if he could make a family meal. I asked him, sure, what are you going to make? It's curry chicken. I know I love curry chicken. At that point, I always wanted to know how to make it. This gentleman was from Sri Lanka, and this is his rendition on a nice curry. I did a couple things different. All I did was he added everything to the pot at the same time. You can do that, but I found better results going kind of the French cuisine where you deglaze and get fond on the bottom and adding your spices to your oil so it releases all the flavors a little bit better. Right after we add the curry, which is right about now. I think we're good. We're starting to get a little bit of sticking on the bottom there. And you can do this with lamb, beef, chicken, fish. Obviously, fish you would not start this way. We're going to go ahead and add our curry. So in the recipe, you'll see curry powder and paprika. What I did is just added the 2 together because it's just a little bit. I think it's like 2 teaspoons or so of paprika. 1 teaspoon of paprika. Curry is also something that after you make it, you're going to smell it in your house for 4 or 5 days. That's how it is at my house all the time. So if you can smell it in here right now, oh my goodness, it's going off the wall. But again, if you don't like curry or you have a friend that comes over, doesn't particularly like curry, they're going to be, oh, what's that smell? It's your delicious curry. So we're just going to let that cook for a minute. You don't want to burn your, definitely don't want to burn your curry powder. We're going to go ahead and add some ginger. I leave them whole, along with the cinnamon sticks and the crushed garlic. I leave all that whole. And that has been cooking long enough that we're going to go ahead and finish the process. I'm going to start with some chicken broth. And the chicken broth is going to deglaze and get all that nice fond off the bottom of the pan. So I'm just going to hit it with a little bit of chicken broth. Scrape the bottom of the pan. Get all the fond off the bottom there. And that's a real important step if you're going to go this route and add your spices first, like I was saying, to release all those oils. You don't get your fond off the bottom, then when you add your cream and stuff, you're gonna have it start to burn, and you're gonna ruin your dish. So you definitely want to work a little bit of the broth in there. Add a little bit more if you have to. I don't know if you guys can see that, but essentially that was full of fond, which is the burnt brown bits at the bottom. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of the broth. Now I left the ginger, I cut the fingers in kind of thick chunks. That's because you're going to pull that out a little bit later. Okay, we're going to let this come to a boil. I'm sorry. We're going to go ahead and add everything to this. The tomato, jalapeno, and onions. Whoops, can't let that get away. Just going to go ahead and stir that up. Now, right now, it doesn't look like a whole lot of juice in there. You are going to add a little bit of water, but you're going to let this reduce first, because a lot of these vegetables are going to release a lot of juice. That's why you don't want to add too much water to it right now. You want those vegetables to release their juices, and then you're going to cook it down and reduce this so it really gets a concentrated flavor of that curry. So as you can see, quite a bit of juice comes out of that onion, the jalapeno, the tomatoes. I did not add any more water or any other liquid. And we're just going to let this cook down until it reduces to about 3/4, and then we're going to add our heavy cream to finish it. And then salt and pepper to taste. But it's looking very good, and this is what's going to break down the process of all those onions getting really nice and soft and tender. They almost disappear into the curry. And when we come back, I will show you at what point you should bring it down to before you add your heavy cream. Okay, everybody. Here it is cooked down. If you see, quite a bit of the juices have evaporated. It's reduced down quite a bit. As you can see, you can barely see any tomato. The onions have broken down really well. At this point, we're gonna go ahead and add our heavy cream, and then let that reduce until it's nice and bubbly and creamy. If you like to add a stabilizer to this so your cream doesn't break, you could always add a little bit of cornstarch. And there's my pint of heavy cream. I'm just going to give that a quick stir, and again let that continue cooking until it reduces. And as you'll see, as I was saying, the vegetables just kind of start disappearing. Like you can barely see any of the tomato. By the time this reduces, more of the jalapenos will be broke down, the onions. You'll have a little bit in there, but it will reduce quite a bit until it's nice and bubbly and creamy. Again, if you don't want your heavy cream to break, or if you notice it start breaking, just add a little bit of cornstarch slurry. It's cornstarch and water. If you go to an Indian restaurant, they're not real concerned with it. So usually when I get this at my favorite place, it's called Delhi of India. In your to-go container, it's kind of covered with a little layer of oil. That's simply because the cream broke from the broth. I'm just going to give that a stir, and I will return when this is closer to its finished state. Okay, I'm back, everybody. As you can see, this has been cooking for about 20 minutes. It's reduced by quite a bit. It's nice and creamy. You see that texture? I don't know if you remember what it started like. It was kind of a pale yellow. Gets a nice dark yellow, yellowish brown. Really nice, good. Your chicken is just breaking up. As I was saying, you can barely see any of the jalapeno or the tomato. It just all blends together. So at this point, what you want to do is take a pair of tongs, and this is where you'll fish out your ginger root. What I like to do is I count how many I put in there so I know how many I took out. So you'll go ahead and fish out your ginger root and your cinnamon. Your cinnamon is going to open up as it cooks, and it's going to add so much flavor to that. So we're going to go ahead and just pull all these out. I'm going to fish those out, get my count. So the worst thing is if you leave these in, forget to pull them out. Once in a while, if you don't count it, you bite into a nice hard piece of ginger. It's not pleasant for the guests, but nobody's perfect. It happens. It's happened to me. And when we come back, I'm going to go ahead and plate it up with some basmati rice and some fresh naan bread. Okay, we're back. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. What I like to do with my rice, so just put a little on the plate. Leave a little edge of your plate for your rice, or your naan bread. I just like to put a pile of that in there and make a little well. So you can add plenty of that nice sauce that goes with that. This plate would probably easily serve maybe 2 people. The recipe serves about 4 to 8 people unless you like leftovers. There you go. And here's our fresh naan bread. Just going to kind of rip that up. A couple of pieces, nice and rustic. Put that on a plate. And then your guests can go to town. Trust me, if you have anybody that does enjoy curry, this is a very good curry. And we'll garnish with a little bit of parsley. You can garnish with a little cilantro. A lot of Indian places, they'll use cilantro, they'll use some fresh parsley. It's whatever your preference is. And there you go. Thanks, and we'll see you again.